Sai Ram, respected elders, beloved brothers and sisters, by the infinite grace, compassion, and love of Bhagavan Baba, we've come to share some insights on the subject of unity is divinity. Thank you, Sister Rupa, for a nice introduction. And I'm really very humbled to be invited for the Zone 3 virtual conference, speaking to devotees from Australia, New Zealand, and Fiji. I'm also doubly honored to share the same stage with Sister Geetha Ram, who will speak on purity's enlightenment and also covers some aspects of the subject tomorrow. But that's beautiful. Anyway, so happy to see all of you today. So, what exactly is the subject of unity is purity? Unity is divinity, sorry. What is unity and what is divinity? So I'm going to just take you along with you. Just relax, enjoy. I'm just going to slowly guide you and glide you into the experience of the subject. Today in this world, we are never more confused than before. Really, this COVID has propelled the whole world into very serious uncertainty and confusion. We are disoriented, perplexed, unclear, confused, unsure, and even sometimes lost. The reason is because in our country, the numbers have gone up so high. Really, the hospital beds are really full, ICUs are full. So really, it's quite discouraging. And also at the same time, countries like India and many other countries are experiencing this aspect of it. So what is it that we can do? A lot of people phone and say, oh, brother, when I see the news, I feel so depressed. I feel so confused. What should I do? Then I tell them, don't watch the news, because if the news is going to give you that experience, then don't watch it. Then just remain with your own pure consciousness, continue to pray, continue to be experiencing peace and happiness, and then pray from that state of consciousness so that you can all be so connected and generate the vibrations of peace and love in that manner to everybody. So I think that is what I'm saying. So be peaceful, be happy, be connected at this point of time, because the more and more psychologically you're happy, the psychoneuroimmunology of our body, because all three are very connected, will at least confer greater state of immunity, and that in itself will be able to confer some form of resistance to the current infection, at least help them to some extent. So I'm sincerely hoping that we use this period to get more and more connected within and remain happy, connected inside and remain steady and peaceful. So what is the life that we are leading now? I mean, if you look at it, we eat, meet, mate, breed, brood, and we just continue our life. This is cycle. Dogs, cats, all animal kingdom does that. And if a human being born in a human being, and if you continue to lead a life of this nature without anything to explore, without anything to ask, question, we find that we will live a very mundane existence. This is called only existence. We are definitely not born for just this. There must be something higher and something nobler for us to pursue. And these times, sometimes life naturally has come to a stop. We are asked to pause. We are asked to go within. We have to ponder, what is this life? Where am I leading to? Where am I going? Many such thoughts is the very powerful time for us to question these thoughts and find answers. Bhagavan says, and some of these extracts I've taken from the study circle material on unity is divinity, which is a very good material. In fact, both the study circle guides are really very good material. So this is a line that Swami said, and I'm also going to tell you how we should read these lines. This capacity for the transition from moha to moksha is once again an expression of the divine force within. A simple line. So we'll read the capacity for the transition from moha to moksha is once again an expression of the divine force within. Have you finished reading? Yes, I have finished reading. So what did you understand? I understand that this whole thing is from moha to moksha. And you perhaps dismiss this and go on to other lines and other lines. But every line of Swami, every statement that Bhagavan works, I've said or I've uttered are really mantras. These are all mantras. And unless we contemplate, the whole idea is that the reading must lead us to contemplation. It is only in the state of contemplation that the mind can go into the stratosphere in which you'll find certain higher meaning coming into our existence. So the capacity for the transition from moha to moksha is once again an expression of the divine force within. Moha, delusion. The world, we are deluding ourselves. We think this is all real and we are acting in this world. Moksha, mohashaya, which means to say the destruction of this delusion. So from whole point, the whole idea is that there is a force within that is moving from stages of moha to the final moksha. Finally, the whole delusion is going to be destroyed, and then finally we'll get liberated. The end of culture, the end of education is character. So this character is what that will enable us to understand, discriminate, find out, and move from different levels of delusion. Last time when we were young, we used to fight with our, let's say, fight with our neighbor because we are fighting for a small toy and the child took it from us and we want it so badly. We want it so badly. But now we have grown up now. Do you think we'll go to the police station and make a police report that the child, when I was a child, he took my toy? We won't say that. Why? Because we have grown out of our that delusion, that to say that that was real. At every stage of our consciousness, we are moving from one stage to next stage to higher stage and higher stage. Slowly, we must begin to graduate from all these various playthings and finally come to the ultimate liberation. And finally, Swami said, even the river that is flowing so far high up from the hill, Swami said, the river also knows in its consciousness that it must reach the ocean. The river knows that it must reach the ocean. Even though there's a stone, the river knows how to go around it, how to bend over. If there's a small hill, it knows how to bend and twist. But finally, the intention of the river is that it should finally reach the ocean, isn't it? It should reach the ocean. Yet we find with smallest obstacles, we get despair. The smallest, a challenge, we find we get dispirited. We question, we find that we will give up. So the real point here is that we are already programmed to reach the ocean. We are programmed for this inside our system, that it is this, there's a stage of delusion from moha. We are supposed to go to higher stages of our existence. So therefore, even when we are so comfortable, we have to question. Why is this comfort? This comfort only will be there for temporary. It will slowly disappear. And then we will find that again another problem will come, again another problem will come. Therefore, what then is me? What then is this problem? What then is this whole idea? But then why is it that I am finding myself so confused? And Buddha says so beautifully, the mind is like this muddy water, but you don't need to worry, because keep the muddy water still, the mud will naturally settle and you can see the pure water there. So the secret of gaining clarity is to be still. In great confusion, we should not make decisions. That is the secret of life. Very fine. Oh, what is this? Should I do this? Should I do this? Should I do this? Should I? So much of confusion. If the confusion is so much, then should not make any decisions at that point of time. Most of the time, it should be prompted by a clear conscience, which is reflected upon the highest stages of our spirituality. How do you get to that stage? Mind must know how to still itself. If the mind is still, as Buddha said, the mud will naturally settle down and you'll be able to see with clarity. So this whole journey, my God, is from moha to moksha. Where is that force, so Swami? Where is that force? Nothing to worry. That force is already a chip that is already inside. That's why the divine force is already inside. You are already programmed to move towards this direction. If we just allow ourselves to be doing so, then you'll find that the river knows how to reach the ocean. Then why is it that we are getting attached? That's because you are allowing another system to work with you. And what is that? The mind. So the whole aspect of life is that we allow the dictates of the mind to determine and to tell us what is true and what is not true. Now, this is another very beautiful statement from the text. Swami said, what does unity mean? It is not the combination of many. Yeah, you A plus B plus C, all of you sit together. Okay, now since we all are working together, that means to say we are united. The spiritual wing, the service wing, education wing, youth wing, ladies wing, all of these wings in the Sai Center, you all work hand in hand. That is just combination of the many. This combination of the many just is only one aspect of unity, Baba says. Then what is that? The unity to understand that you and I are all one, and this one is expressed as service, expressed as education, expressed as spirituality. The same one is expressed. To realize the oneness behind all of that is what this unity is all about. So I see the flower, beautiful flower. I see another flower, beautiful flower. I see another flower, beautiful flower. The flowers really so nice. The fragrance is so beautiful. The color is so radiant. I'm so captivated by these flowers. It captures the senses. Now, in my mind, when it is still, I can transcend the senses. Then what do I see? I see the string that ties up all the flowers in the garland. So why is it that I did not appear, or why did not I appreciate the string? Because you are captivated by the senses. So the whole idea is that if we want real unity, we need to transcend the senses. In order for us to transcend the senses, we are able to watch and experience that string that ties the various flowers, holding up the beautiful garland, isn't it? So this feeling that everything in this world that I see, we must now try and see to transcend. If there's a conflict in the family, he's telling his perspective, she's telling her perspective, everyone is talking from her perspective. Then if you are spiritual and we are the ones who know what the secret is, transcend the senses. Do not get irritated. Do not get agitated. Stand behind and see his perspective, her perspective, that person's perspective. Everyone has got his perspective and each one is right in his own way. Therefore, if you're standing by like that and seeing, you will find the solution, because you are the unifying principle in the family. So many people, what happens is whenever there's a conflict, they go and make a choice and side these things. But the one who is all wise will always stand as a unifying principle. In the Lord Shiva's example, in the study circle, there's an example in which Lord Shiva is standing there and with his family, his wife is next to him, and his vehicle is the cow, her vehicle is the tiger, and the other side, Ganesha, is his son. His son is an elephant riding on a rat. And rat and elephant are bitter enemies. On the other side is Murugan. And Murugan is, the vehicle is peacock. Below the peacock is a snake. They are literally diametrically opposite in nature. They're all standing there as a family photograph with Lord Shiva. And yet you find there are no disputes, because Shiva we never use the word Sri Shiva. We say Shiva because the reason is Sri means auspiciousness. Shiva also means auspiciousness. So in the presence of auspiciousness, all differences get dissolved. All differences are separate. All differences find a unifying place to melt their differences. So therefore, if we become more and more spiritual, we see a higher state of our consciousness, we find that we can become an amazing force of unity. So this is another beautiful example to show you how differences can be. Now, this is a methodology now. Oh, this is so beautiful. This is such a beautiful experience that we can find a unifying experience. The question is, how can I achieve that? Dear Swami said, through sacrifice, you will come to know what your real nature is: charity. Charity does not mean that you're given some money to an individual or an organization. The removal of all the evil thoughts that are within you is true charity. Charity will in turn confer purity upon you. So Swami here says, charity is not just going to give some dollars and cents to some passing beggar or some institution or something like that. The real charity is removal of evil. Swami, what evil do I have? I am not evil. I don't murder, rob, or or do anything like that, then what is the evil? Then Swami says, no, listen, man has got 16 evil qualities, 16 negative, 16 evil nature. And Swami said, one of them, the first one is pride of wealth. These are all tendencies which gravitate us from achieving to see the string behind the garlands. Ability to see the spiritual nature of things. Why? Because these 16 tendencies will start to come into us and contaminate and pollute our system to such an extent that we'll not be able to experience the unity. So what Swami is saying is that pride of wealth. So one is wealthy, you have a conscious, oh, I have wealth, oh, I have so much of money, I live in a big house. So that pride will help us to feel, will sort of not help us to move forward. Youth is also a point where sometimes when, younger days, youth will, I can do this, I want this, why are you so impatient? Why can't you just leave me alone? That kind of thinking that comes into. So youth also can give you an indication or can give you a feeling that pride can come inside. Then physical beauty, yes, that also can be certain points in which we can block. Intelligence is very highly intelligent person, PhD, so this kind of pride can come. Physical strength is also one. Strength is where we are very strong, I can do this, I can do that. In each of these we can have story, but I just don't have the time to finish that. But physical strength, high education, I finished this, I got double degree, I got triple degree. And that can sometimes give you that pompous feeling that I know everything. Clan means, clan means what? A group of people, which means to say status. Yes, status. I belong to this high status. I belong to that status, this status. And of course, position, whatever position that we have, I am this position, I hold that position. Do you know who I am? So this kind of thinking gives you an identity. So that identity in itself can become a block towards experiencing the oneness of our spirit. And then, of course, this is 8. The other 6 is the desire, anger, greed, delusion, pride, and jealousy. Kama, krodha, moha. All that, all that is generally the 6, And then Swami also added 2 more, which is rajas and tamas. So this completely is the 16 negative evils that sometimes may block our experience of our own full intentions of our life, our full purpose, and sometimes our full nature of ourselves. See, even animals, this, you look at the dogs, the cows, buffaloes are walking in a straight line, but look at the bottom here, massive traffic jam. So the animals also can be sometimes more trained. See, the dogs are standing in a queue, but look at this people here rushing for food. So therefore, an organization is for the purposes of organizing us. That means organization is for the purposes of helping us to organize our thoughts. That's why some people say, I don't need an organization. I don't need necessarily, I can be spiritual. Yes, you can be. But why Swami created the organization is you meet all sorts of people. You need to develop patience. You need to understand the nature of teamwork and working with people. But more importantly, the organization is helping us to organize my thoughts in a systematic, structured manner so that it will be enable us to develop a certain amount of discipline. And that's a very important quality needed. So this is a nice slide to show you how to weigh yourself to get the most accurate results. Were you doing it wrong? Were you doing it wrong all these years? So that means, look, this lady is measuring, and this measurement is really someone who is measuring. You need to update things so you're measuring something here, and your weight will never go up. So is this the way we measure our spirituality? Maybe the way we are measuring it is all wrong. The way we are measuring it is possibly wrong. And Bhagavan says, softness of the ground is the proof of the rain. Softness is the heart is the proof of spirituality. So the end result is not the number of songs you sing or the number of books you have read or the number of hours that you have spent in an activity. But the end result is the outcome is that how soft the heart has become, whether it's still able to sensitively hear the cries and pains of others, whether we are able to tune and able to empathize. All that is what is the proof of spirituality. So now, identification. Okay, so now in life, most of the time, if we identify. So now we identify at the body level. Our experiences will be at the physical level. Physical means through the senses, we see this is the face and we live, and we can't possibly not live in the physical world. So through the physical world, we attract, we receive the impulses that gives you that we live in a physical plane of existence, and therefore the comforts that we seek. And we can continue to live in this world for just appeasing the physical senses, but that is only at one level. Then there are people who live at the level of the mind, where it's emotional level. Everything is very hyper emotional. They attach many things. And it's nothing wrong with that, but sometimes we just live at that level, and then we're not able to transcend. So everything becomes a small little thing becomes a huge, big topic of discussion. We become very hyper excited about certain things, and yet Swami said the devotee is one who's equal-minded. Then there are some people who live in the intellectual plane. All life we are always analyzing, and we must understand that too much of analysis can cause paralysis. Forever we will be we will be having paralysis. So we will not be forever. We'll be thinking, we'll be analyzing. We need to transcend and then reach this level of the Atma. That's what our journey is. We have Swami says Atma Sarupalara, which means embodiments of the Atma. This is our destination, Atma. So in Jnana Vahini, Swami says that unless we keep on questioning, realization won't come. So we need to question, why do I exist? How long am I existing? And after I die, where do I go? What is this purpose? What is that purpose? If you keep on questioning, the questioning mind, that's why Bhagavad Gita is in questions. Upanishads are in questioning. So unless we keep on questioning, we find that we will not be able to reach our destination. Once we have a destination that this is what we want to achieve, then we will generally don't get lost. Even if we get lost, we ask others, hey, excuse me, do you know this address? This is where you want to go. So you go straight, turn right, turn left. So they give you all the address, the directions, so that you can reach the destination. So how is it that you're not lost? Because you know exactly where to go. So for spiritual people, this is what we need to arrive at. We need to know how to get connected to the Atma. Wow. So we need to transcend the physical. We need to transcend the mind. We need to transcend intellect and reach this state. And what is the benefit? That's the question. What is the benefit? If this is the spiritual thing, what is the benefit? Now, dear friends, this is what our journey is from the top of the mind. I'll keep this slide because this is a very nice slide. Right at the top of the ocean, you have waves. The waves will toss us, the waves will turn, the wave will lash us. And as long as you keep remaining at the top of the ocean, we will never arrive at any level of peace. So in confusion, we should never make decision. So the reason is we are at the top of the ocean where the mind is. Where we see ourselves at the top of the ocean, this is what is called heterogeneity. Heterogeneity means everything is seen in parts. We cannot see a connectivity. This is where when we say we will work in silo. In fact, you will find sometimes some Sai centers also, you ask the education wing, you will find that they may not know what the spiritual wing is supposed to be doing. Or you ask a service wing, they will say, look, I'm just going to the service and coming back, but I won't know what the education wing is doing. So everybody is working, no question about it, but sometimes in parts and sometimes in isolation. Sometimes even in our departments, working place, you'll find many people sometimes work in silo. So the whole idea is that silo means we are working at this level. You cannot see the thread behind the various garland. So what is unity is that when we start to increase our consciousness and move from the heterogeneous level of the mind, which tells me things in separation, I now must reach Atma, the seabed. I must now sink deeper and deeper into the deeper recesses of our mind and go connecting to the Atma. This is where we get homogeneity. This is where we get oneness. And how do you get into oneness is where at this oneness, even somebody does wrong, we are able to forgive easily. We are able to find oneness with another individual. We find peace and love inside here because we are connecting to the Atma. Then suddenly you'll find one incident will come and we'll keep on floating up to the top of the ocean. But again, our realization takes us deeper and deeper into the seabed. And it is in this seabed that we will look up, and this is where we'll get tranquility, we will get peace. This is where all stresses of life will disappear. You can stand by the side and see the beauty of life passing by in a very detached, beautiful manner. In fact, that's how you see Niagara Falls when you go to Canada. And if you go and see Niagara Falls, You have to appreciate Niagara Falls from a distance. Oh, I love Niagara Falls. I want to be. Then you get closer and closer, and finally you get swept away by Niagara Falls. You will not be able to appreciate the fall because you have fallen into the fall. So in that sense, what will happen is that the river will, the fall will sweep you away. But it is only from a distance that a detached view will be able to appreciate the beauty and wonder of life. Like that, when you are going into Homa, you'll find a certain balance in our life. You'll not too terribly get involved, not too self-opinionated. You find that, there are a lot of people, in my opinion, this is, so you'll find that you see things in narrow perspectives or see things in our own lens, not having the larger wisdom. So at the top there, at the level of the mind is where you have knowledge. But here, when you get to the Atma, you'll have wisdom. There you will find a lot of opinions and ideas. This you find a lot of insights that you gain. This is the insight. This is the connectivity. Most of the science discoveries, I can tell you, being a scientist myself, is never made at the level of the mind. It is at the moments when silence, in the deeper recesses of silence, you find some beautiful creative insights are given. This is where they discover the creativity. If you want a breakthrough in your office, we need to learn how to go to the deeper parts of the ocean. We need to get to the deeper seabed levels. So this is what the whole idea is. We have to reach the deeper portions of ourselves. This is what Swami described and told us to go to that. And all the Vahinis point to this. Vahinis point us to experience this Atmic consciousness. That's why Sri Ramana Maharishi said, the wave said to the sea, could I be like you? The sea replied, it's easy, just settle down. That's all, just settle down. I like this slide and I like these words because just settle down. Just settle. So you find that this settling down is what we really need to find. We have slid down into the present decline mainly because we have lost faith in the Atma in us. This is the beginning of our fall. For loss of confidence in the Atma self involves loss of faith in God himself. This is it. So that's why Swami said self-confidence is the first step towards self-realization. And that confidence must come from each individual. See, we have listened to how many discourses, how many sadhana camps, how many talks, we've read how many books. So now we have to put a stop and question, hey, how many more years am I going to live in this world? What is my realization? What is it that it keeps on saying, there is a force within you, there is a force within you. And the mind keeps on enchanting and keeps on throwing us all the toys so that we become enchanted with the world. But we need to transcend that. We need to cross that and reach the deeper portions of our inner state of our higher consciousness, in which we can see that these are all just passing waves. Because when we die, we alone go. Example, if I die, I'll go alone. That's it. And if I've gone to funerals and I've seen somebody passing by, the rest of them will cry, but they're not prepared to jump into the fire as well or go into the ground as well. So I came alone, I will leave alone. So if this is the state of consciousness, this is the state of awareness that we must come. That's why Swami said, two things we must not forget. What is that? Death and God. So death we cannot forget because that is going to snatch us from this world of experience. But to continuously have that knowledge that everything is temporary is the true jnanam, is the true knowledge that we must continuously have. They have given us a short period of time to play, but while playing, extract that information that the world is throwing, extract the insights after which we must now open the jail door and come out of this jail, which is what Lord Krishna's birth signifies. So Lord Krishna's birth signifies this aspect that we need to open the door and every individual must come out from his own jail door. So liberation is the ability to move away from this limitation and keep on saying, yes, I can. Yes, I am divine. Yes, I am divine. Fear and anxiety should not come into us. So this is what we should continuously think about. Now, this is all nice to hear, Okay, this is good theory. This is nice theory. Okay, I got the philosophical knowledge. Yes, what you're saying is unity is divinity. We need to reach our atmic level. Okay, you need to transcend physical, mental, intellectual. Okay, and why the benefit of that is that we'll lead a very stress-free life. Okay, we'll have great insights and everything else. Okay, this will give us more progress and prosperity. All right, agreed. Now the question that you must ask is, hey, this is all fantastic. This is all great theory. How do I reach there? I want to reach there. This is a beautiful state. Give me some practical things, because philosophy alone cannot take us there. You have to have a roadmap by which I must now use. So here in this statement, Bhagavan says, only the Atma is true, eternal, and changeless. The Vedas also declare it is attributeless, nirgunam, unsullied, niranjanam, eternal, sanatana, final abode, niketana, permanent, pure, enlightened, free, and the embodiment of sacredness. Nitya, Shuddha, Buddha, Mukta, Nirmala, Swarupinam. That is the Atma. Okay, I got it. I got it now, Swami. I know what you're trying to do. You are trying to give us a description of each of that particular state in which if I start to cultivate in my life, the chances are that I will now achieve this. Now, let's take it practically, because I always believe spirituality has to be practical. And sometimes when I see these words, it's sometimes we start rattling certain things, and then I always ask, what do you mean by this? What do you mean by that? If it does not make sense towards it, then how will we ever do anything? If you go to the recipe book, you need to understand the recipe book in order for us to go and make that food. But if you don't understand that recipe and we don't know what it means, that food will never do. So one person was looking at the recipe, the whole cupboard was full of recipe books. So I asked this individual, so many recipe books, very nice. It's such a big collection. And then, so you cook all this? He said, no, I hardly go to the kitchen. So then what is the use of this recipe book? You have a PhD on swimming, but you're allergic to water. What use is of that? So therefore, the question is that we must make it very practical. That's what it is. Now, watch this. Nirgunam. Nirguna means attributeless. Now, carefully. Attributeless means there's no attribute. The divine is not attribute. Now you look at some of our characteristics in our life. Sometimes we are so strong in our opinion. Oh, this is what it should be. Sometimes when we hear the quarreling and the disputes that people have, they are very the opinion is that this is it. You hold it so strong and hold it so tight. It has to be like that. Hey, Atma is nirgunam, no attribute. There's no attribute at all. That means to say, only when it is in the river, there is the river flowing. See, this is the idea of a river. But when the river reaches the ocean, there is no identity. All waters just merge. Wow. So Bhagavan, you are saying to me, from today onwards, hey, don't be so self-opinionated. Don't think this is what your thought is and that is the only thing that is right. If you look at the Dasha Slokas done by Adi Shankara when the time of merging, Adi Shankara said that as he is merging, they asked him, what is merger? He said, whatever you know is just a fraction of what you should be knowing. I tell you, this is the most amazing statement, whatever you know, we read all these books and we think we know a lot. But whatever you know is just a fraction of what you should know. Wow, there's a huge, big thing we should know, and we just know a little bit, and we think this is what we know. How sad, how conceited we have become. So even that's why when you become more knowledgeable, we will find that we keep on saying. That's why the sadhus all say, I don't know anything. What do I know? They will appear humble. They won't know anything. They will declare that they don't know anything. But actually the real wisdom is why they don't know anything is because when you know something, you find out there is so much more to know. So attribute, there's no attribute. There's no conditioning in this status. There is no this. We love everything. We love all faith. Whether you are in the church or whether you go, your just eyes will stream with joy. As long as there's connectivity, it doesn't matter which hall you stand. You know that inside your heart is the Prashanti Nilayam. Inside there, that is where we can experience divine. Wherever you go, that divinity is with us. So that kind of nirgunam, attributeless, loving all faith, in loving all people, loving all conditions. So that kind of state, without any form, without any preconceived notion of what it is Nirgunam. So this is one Atmic level. Another one is that Niranjanam. Niranjanam is unsullied, which means to say unsullied, the expression in our behavior is that our reputation and character must be unblemished. That's what uncharacter. So our character must be a sterling character, and there have been no stains in our character. So we must be very careful in the way in which we live in our life, so that this reputation is well guarded, or people must make sure that we are what we call unsullied. No, there's no necessity for certain things. Sometimes our habits is what that gives us this notion that we have to have. So sometimes social customs makes you feel that it is necessary to comply. Here is at this juncture, there's no necessity to have alcohol, then no necessity to have alcohol. Why is the necessity for us to, one drink, moderate drinking, or whatever it is? But the point here is that if we can be happy without depending on anything external, then that is fantastic. So then there is nothing contaminates our body or nothing affects our system, and we just enjoy our natural flow of endorphins without depending upon anything else. No, the mind must always because then it will be easy to withdraw for our meditation and for our higher purposes that we have come to live by. So we just enjoy that inner bliss that we have, the inner peace that we have. It's a beautiful feeling just to enjoy that peace. That's why unity is divinity. That divine experience is just, sometimes when you go into the mountains, I have been where I was, yes, New Zealand, I had this beautiful chance to be we traveled in New Zealand and saw the beautiful, when you see the mountains, you see, you stand there spellbound by the gaze of that beautiful mountains and the clouds covering it and the hills. And you find tears uncontrollably flowing. Because why? Because that entire scene is connecting to your purity. You find so beautiful. So that kind of experience. So unblemished means, yes, as long as our life is, we just continue to live our life, making sure that our thoughts are good, our feeling of talking is good, the way we act in this world will be good. So this is what is meant by Niranjanam, unblemished, unsullied, making sure that we take vigilance over the kind of thoughts. You enter into a house, that house is very big. Wow, so big house. And then you feel envy coming in, jealousy coming in. So watch these thoughts. Why should this envy come in? Why should this jealousy come in? It doesn't matter. So let everybody live happily ever. That's why you say samasta loka sukhino bhavantu. Let nothing stay in our mind. So this kind of feeling in which we are all connected is a beautiful experience to experience. Eternal values for Sanadhana. So Sanadhana means eternal. So I have, of course, Sanadhana does not mean values, but I have equated that to values, meaning Sanadhana means eternal. Eternal means we live our life, we lead a life where we can forever do left, even our physical form drops off. There's some things that we leave behind for others to follow. Like Mahatma Gandhi passed, I've already passed on, but forever we will remembered for his principle of ahimsa or non-violation. So because the values outlive the body. So Sanadhana means if we live a life like that. So whatever that you are doing, whatever activity you're doing, if you're a Sai leader or if you are a spiritual wing leader or any leader, then you're doing something in that organization so outstandingly well that even after 4 or 2 terms that you step down, there is something that you have left behind for the others to follow, and the system is now becoming more enhanced. So you don't say, I don't know, when I was a leader, it was like that, then I don't know what happens after I go. No, not instead of saying that, we say that whatever that I do, I have done to the best of my ability. I have created a system in which it outlives me, even my position. So Sanadhana means for eternal. It means to say for time immemorial, doing something because we are focused on leaving behind some things for others to benefit from. Then you find Niketana. Niketana is final abode. Final abode is the Atma. This is so you can travel anywhere outside, you can go everywhere, but finally you come to a point in there. Final. That means this is the final abode can be experienced in very sincere meditation. So if you are really meditating, you have that few quiet moments. The world cannot take you away from you. These beautiful, intimate moments that you have with yourself. This Atma is waiting for us to contact it, and then we find that there's a gush of experience coming from within. You're so enveloped and completely taken away, and you have no thought or no concept of time. In the timelessness, in the spacelessness, you just drift into that beautiful state of bliss, and then finally you're forced to come out of that state. Wow, that is your abode. That is our abode. That is the state. In that abode, that state, we find insights and knowledge and everything coming. This is our birthright. Our home is this birthright. This is the final abode. So this is where and if we can come and contact this final abode, this is fantastic. So every day we make a resolution. Oh, I don't care, whatever it is, I'm going to spend 20 minutes in meditation. I don't care, I'm going to spend 30 minutes. So whatever that world distracts us, I'm going to give my time for this meditation. Nitya. Nitya means permanent. So we should reach for permanent. What is permanent? Permanent. So look, Nitya can mean many, many things. But the most practical is permanently be happy. How many of us get up in the morning and say, oh, one more day, fantastic. Thank you, God, for keeping me alive for one more day. How many of us say that? How many of us get up enthusiastic? Oh, this one day I must do so many things. I must be enthusiastic. I must be happy. I must be joyful. Or do we say, oh God, one more day to live. Oh God, why does this day come? Oh God. Okay. Is this how do we respond? Hey guys, good morning guys. How are you? How are they? Hey, fantastic. So nice to see you. So we are so happy and we make everybody else happy. So happiness is the eternal journey. Nowadays, people have great problem in becoming happy because happiness is becoming a rare commodity. The real reason is because we're depending upon the external world to give us the happiness. For God, switched off the inner fountain from the heartmic happiness that we can get, but we've depended upon the outside. Outside world can only give us happiness for a short period of time. The inner world will give you happiness, but that happiness will slowly graduate to what? To become spiritual bliss. There's a difference. Happiness and bliss will be. Happiness is unless you become happy, the bliss also will not be developed. How to get happiness? Don't do what you like what you do. So whenever I start to do my work, I must work happily. I must work enthusiastically. If you are married, be happy with your marriage. If you have children, be happy with your children. If you're eating, be happy with the food. If you're sightseeing, be happy. If you're listening to this, be happy. Just enjoy the moment. Happiness is nitya, is when we are anchored in the spirit of the power of being in the present. This is what nitya, permanent happiness means. If you can enjoy this, then there's no high philosophy and all that. So sometimes people, when they read books and narrate a lot of high philosophical stuff, at the end of the day, guys, fantastic. I think it's very good interpretation. Very nice to hear. Are you a happy person? If you're not happy, then why you read all these things, and how come you're not translating this to me? Oh, I cannot be happy because my family is like, I cannot be happy because, yeah. But you look at all the great masters, their life wasn't a book of fairy tales. Actually, many of these masters also had miserable lives. Despite having all the misery in their life, they had a cheerful bounce in their life. So literally what it means is that whatever circumstances and situations that you're happening, whatever experience that you're feeling, to have continuous happiness, because in our life we have got the greatest source of happiness. What is that? Swami. Swami till is very, and he was such a cheerful, very, very humorous, and extremely person. Sai Baba. So many. There are so many moments of humorous moments that we had. Even yeah, there was once. Yeah, I remember just Swami's story. When we were sitting because we staged a lot of drama for Swami, and one of the plays that we were there, in the first World Youth Conference was there, and then during the first World Youth Conference, they asked me to speak, and I had a lot of bad sore throat, and I really could not speak. But when the time came, I drank some warm water, and then went to the front, and then I spoke there. And then when I spoke, a lot of people were laughing, clapping and all that. So then when I came back and I sat at the backstage, Swami came out. Swami went to the Sevadal and asked, who was talking just now? The Sevadal pointed to me. Swami came to me and stood there. And Swami asked, what did you speak? You spoke about Malaysia, you spoke about the activities. Before I could tell, he narrated what exactly I spoke. I said, yes, Swami, yes, Swami. And then I said, Swami, bad throat, Swami, very bad throat. Like really, really couldn't speak at all. So really bad throat? Swami touched the throat like this, and then he waved his hands, So I naturally put my hand like that, expecting vibhuti. So, it's natural like that. You put your hand like that. Swami waved his hands, and then Swami took his hands and rubbed his own throat. I also have, must be the weather. And then he just gave a smile and laughed and went off. You recall Swami, you recall all the beautiful moments of joy and happiness. So happiness, that means to say whatever we have got, be contented. Be contented and just be happy with what we have. That's Nitya. Then what is that called? Shuddha. Shuddha, Swami has Trikarana Shuddhi, Bhava Shuddhi. The Shuddha is a very big thought. The Shuddha means purity. That means in our heart, we should have purity. So I started to look at around what is purity. How do you define this? Purity, everybody says. So very simple. One simple way to assess this is doing everything in this world without the notion of I and my. These are the two viruses worse than corona that can come and affect us, that affects our purity. Whenever you do anything, is the I there so strong, or with the my there so strong. And this can give us that notion, oh, I spoke, I have this, oh, I'm a professor. All this I thing can come inside. It gives you a false identification, gives you a false notion, gives you a false supremacy experience. So this is called Shuddha. So when we act in this world, when we have doing it just spontaneously, just doing it without any I and my, do not care about the outcome of it, just do it for the sake of doing it. Love for the sake of love alone is Bhakti, Baba said. So the question is, whenever we do anything in this world with that sense of purity, with a sense without this notion of I, without the notion of my, experiencing that oneness when we do this is the act of purity. You can do a very big puja, but the puja can be very much contaminated with a I and my also. You can do a big havan, Om Swaha, but the entire expression of that can be like that. This is a beautiful experience. I just always remember this story. I think it's a beautiful story. In Kodaikanal, the teachers were arranging teachers were arranging the children, small children. Each was given one rose. That's when Swami comes. Each one was supposed to hand the rose over to Swami. Then one girl came there and asked Swami, asked the teacher, I would like to also, can you give me a rose? Then the teacher said, you're not in this class, so please you sit at the back. So she went back and she didn't have any rose to give, but she wanted to give something. So she plucked these grass leaves, the ones that is there in the grass. It is a wild grass. So she plucked a few and kept kept holding it in the hands. So when Swami walked, every student gave one rose, Swami gave back the rose. One rose, Swami gave back the rose. And finally, when he reached there right at the end, then this girl gave Swami this grass leaves, which is nothing. This simple grass. So Swami took that grass leaves, held it tightly, and walked into the interview room. And after 1 hour, Bhagavan came out, still holding that grass leaves. So it is not the size of the flower, the beauty of the feeling upon which we give our life. So the feeling that whatever is said and done, he picked us up, whatever said and done, he gave us the grace to recognize him. Bhagavan gave us that grace to recognize Swami, gave us that opportunity to be close, gave us the books that we can read, made us listen to his discourses, gave us that opportunity of the millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of people. Bhagavan, you picked us up, Swami. How much gratitude that we have. And even some people will say, you guys have had this great intimacy with Lord, with Baba. I could not see that. So why should I have that same feeling? Then in that case, then why do you go to Ganapati temple? You have morning coffee with Ganapati every morning. You have tea with Ganapati. You have not seen him. You have not seen Murugan. You have not seen all this God. You have not seen Krishna. Then why do we No, the whole idea is, of course, there are some people like that, then there will come other masters, then you will also, everybody will get that opportunity, that thing. But the key thing is to have the wisdom to know there is a universal intelligence always looking at us, always guiding us, but for us to open our heart, and the password for that is unity and purity. If we have this unity and purity, we need not worry about divinity. Divinity will come with us. We need not worry. So we need not run after and seek after and search after. This is why Sri Rama said, now when he came back one day, he went into, after 14 years, he went into Lakshmana's wife's bedroom and went there. And Lakshmana also was too embarrassed to ask his brother, what business you have to go into my wife's bedroom. And so few nights this was going on. And then one night when Sri Rama came out of the bedroom, Lakshmana was outside. Lakshmana did not ask. His questioning eyes itself was enough to ask. And Sri Rama explained, you came with me for 14 years. You were with me, but your wife allowed you to come with me for 14 years to serve. And she did not want to come because she did not want you to be different. She wanted your whole, the undivided attention on me. So every night when I come into the bedroom, I go around Urmila. I go around your wife's bed. I go around prostrating to her, praying to her in devotion, in reverence, and in gratitude. My God. God doing this. So that means we need not search for God. We need not run for God. As long as we stick to the principles, as long as we stick to the teachings, God will come to us. It's purity that attracts God to us. We need not search and run. Where is the place? Where should I go? What should I do? We need not run after. God looks for pure heart. And the only reason what I need to do is that I need to make sure my heart and mind is pure without this contamination of this high and mind. Everything will be taken away. I have seen people who die, they bury. I don't see what papers being taken. I don't see all the awards, all the achievements, all the wills. Nothing just goes empty like that. That is the sad state and the sad fate of every individual. Then in this process in between the womb and the tomb, we are getting attached to so many things and make a big mountain out of a small molehill. Therefore, to live in this world with purity, this bhava must be there throughout our existence and our life. So then the Buddha, which is enlightenment. So this is what in the interview room, I was sitting next to Swami. I took Swami's hands and put on my head. Swami said, what are you doing? I said, Swami, I want enlightenment. Give me enlightenment now. Baba said, enlightenment is not a business transaction for me to give you and for you to take. You have to earn it. So I said, why go through this whole process? I felt, just give it to me now. One light will come. Immediately disappear. No, I was thinking that process, but he said, enlightenment is a effort. Effort is necessary. We need to do effort. So therefore, we need to read. We need to understand. We need to serve. We need to examine. We need to analyze. We need to think. We need to feel. So there is a process towards it. And the best way to get this process also is when you're in the organization, you have to work hard. You have to work with other people. There'll be all kinds of working with everybody, working together in a teamwork, and to understand the ultimate goal, not to get in that kind of thing. Then you slowly get Atmic knowledge. Then finally one day, who knows, this final enlightenment will come. So here is read. You have to read. You have to know. Many of us have Vahinis nicely in the library. We have all the Vahinis. How many of us have seriously read those Vahinis? Those Vahinis are prescription, doctor's prescription to cure the illnesses of this world. But we need to understand that Vahini. We need to appreciate the Vahini. We have to read that Vahini. We have to assimilate. What do you mean, Swami? What do you mean? We have to underline those words. We have to search for the meaning. We have to inquire from other people. We have to compare this with other texts, and then that knowledge will come to us. And in that beautiful contemplative moments, insight starts coming in. So boom, the knowledge will come in. And this is how we transcend from mere bookish knowledge to practical wise experience, to see the oneness in that where the river reaches the ocean. So this is all through this beautiful enlightenment. Then finally is mukta. Mukta means freedom, unconditional love. Every moment. So far, all our love is conditional. I love you too. But to continuously serve the organization, even without position, there are some people, until they have a position, they hold and then they do. The moment the position finishes, they say, I'm not anymore in the position. Therefore, I don't know, brother, what other people are doing. It means you just functioned it with position. for which are functioning in this position. Work with just with work just with position is just duty. But if you are just working without the position, that becomes divinity, isn't it? So when you function without any position, still having that strong feeling, still contributing, this is called unconditional love. Unconditional love has got no price in this world. It's the most priceless thing. We are the most powerful people because we can act without any post or any position, and we just give and give as much as we can. This is the mukta, the feeling of the mukta, that nothing in this world is going to buy us. Nothing in this world is have a price. Our price tag is the most impressive and the most expensive price. And what is the price? The price is pricelessness. This pricelessness that we have in our love, the love that we possess, this is the love that we must dare to give, and we should give at every moment of our life. And finally, Nirmala Swarupina means we are the embodiment of sacredness. Every day, sacredness. We become sacred, sacred, sacred. This is the sacredness. Every moment we carry Bhagavan in our heart. This is the feeling that we must have. Our body is like a chariot. This chariot we're taking everywhere. This is the darshan that we're giving to the world, that we must have continuous feeling like this every moment. So in sacredness, we must make sure our actions are sacred, our thoughts are sacred, our feelings are sacred, because we are Nirmala Swarupinam. Now, these are attributes of the Atma. So what do? We practice each of these attributes daily in our life, and therefore slowly exercise. Just as we go to the gym, we find that the muscles are developed, not because by looking at other people exercise, but we ourselves start doing those exercises. Slowly the biceps develop. In the same way, we practice some of these ideals, the spiritual ideals in our life, and take little experiences like this every day. Every day in our life, we slowly are inching ourselves towards the great, incredible ideal of unity is divinity. This is our birthright, and by doing so, we will learn to see everything with the eyes of unifying. We will make big conflicts, we will make very small conflicts. When the father and mother is having a quarrel, we children should not be asking, Amma, Appa, if you separate, what is the property that I will get? Who will give me the better house? That is not children's prayer. Prayer should be that, oh, Amma, Appa, you're having a difficulty. I think we should pray that both of them be together so that all of us be happy. That is the unifying spirit. We should, wherever Sai devotees go, we should try and bring everyone together, not try and separate, segregate. We should bring everyone in a unifying force, because this is what Bhagavan has come, that Bhagavan has come here to unify and live in this beautiful world in a happy state of consciousness, so that finally we realize, Aham Brahmasmi, I am Atma Brahma, I am He, I am He, I am He, is the final declaration that sums up our entire journey in this world. Sai Ram, Sai Ram, Sai Ram.
Saram, Uncle, thank you so much for sharing your wonderful words of wisdom today. If it's okay with you, we'd like to ask you a couple of questions that have come up about this topic. Often when we speak about unity is divinity, the importance is placed on the unity of thought, word and deed. But Swami has also said, when speaking the truth, we shouldn't hurt anyone. So sometimes in practice, it can be a challenge to practice both of these commands. Can you please share with us on how you would approach this?
So the question is, when unity is discussed in the context of this, you are supposed to have three karanas shuddhi, and then this where thoughts, words, and deeds should match. But sometimes in certain situations, you are supposed to speak, but that hurts anyone. So how do you reconcile with both of this? So Bhagavan said that sometimes in order for us to say a truth or other question is, Baba said, come experiment me, experience me, then accept me. Use that formula. So when you say experiment me, experience me. So experience me, experience my love, experience who I am, experience my... So the familiarity of who you are, I am with you, or you're with me, gives me that kind of grounds for me to say certain things for you to finally accept what you're saying. So in terms of when you want to say a truth, how much effort have you done to create a platform in which you both experience love with one another? So that is a very important. Otherwise, even when you say something truthful, it is not about saying something truthful. It is more important for the truth to be accepted, isn't it? You may say, I told him, but he didn't listen. So what's the point? The truth was not necessary. The issue here is that we should make sure that what you're saying is accepted. For him to accept certain things, there must be some element of reverence or respect or love or comradeship or friendship, which means you must be a value to that individual. How much effort have you done towards that direction? So if you do towards that direction, then probably your words will mean a lot. Just because you have a post or position does not necessarily mean that what you say is going to be accepted. So this is the point. So more important than telling your truth is for that person to realize the truth in what you're saying. And that is the problem. That's the challenge. So that sadhana must be practiced so that what you're saying is accepted. So when we sometimes struggle to feel oneness, even in the SSIO, all members, why is that? Why do we sometimes feel struggle? Because members in SSIO all do not operate with the same consciousness. It does not operate with the same everyone is not in the same level of consciousness. Everybody is at different levels. That's why you find sometimes it's amazing to just appreciate perspectives and appreciate this, because when you see certain points happening, a lot of people say different things in different ways, and it's just marvel to see that there are 10 people, but there are 10 people at 10 different levels in which you can see perspectives in different manner. This is the reason why we have satsangs, because you want to appreciate the perspectives given and harmonize that perspective so that we, you accept diversity in organization. So oneness does not mean that everybody must accept the same thing. The vision sometimes can be experienced or felt in different ways by different people. So when we are in the spiritual world, when we see the vision and we are moving towards it, and if you think this direction is correct, then our job as a leader is also to make sure that we have enough love and capacity to pull everybody in the same direction, towards the same vision. That requires spiritual stamina and spiritual strength, and also to make sure that people who don't think so as what you are, also to give them the same amount of love without being judgmental, and work together in a teamwork. So that sadhana is what is spirituality in action. So just because we bulldoze our way and say that this is right, then that may not be correct in the longer run. So this oneness is not that ability to see things in oneness, but the main point is to accept different views as different perspectives, but have the unifying ability to bring everybody to experience and share the same oneness and bring everybody to the platform. That requires stamina, strength, requires a lot of meditation that we need to do. That's why spiritual leaders, we need to do more intense meditation, more atmic experiences must come out so that people can see this oneness. It's all a process. This whole thing is a big like a washing machine. We need to work with people so that we ourselves remove our own impurities, and in the process help others also to transform. Sri Sathya Sai Baba's mission has been conveyed to mankind through various discourses and messages. The first being an exhortation to attain unity. His last message to us was also pleased to maintain unity. Unity, the Baba's mission. Where are we in achieving this unity, and how could we individually and collectively aspire to achieve this unity? This question can be just changed. Instead of saying, where are we, just ask, where am I? That's all. You'll find out all the answer, because I cannot answer for everybody, but I must answer for myself. So this personal accountability must be there. That's why today in my session also I spoke a lot about death. I spoke a lot about attachments and so on. So we need to see where are we in our own spiritual evolution. At one time, what was my thinking? Now, what is my thinking? In 2-3 years' time, how will this thinking change? So we got to carefully analyze this, because what is binding me is my thoughts. And if I don't give importance to my thoughts, then you find that I will not be able to influence my thoughts. I will not increase my quality of my thoughts. So I need to only worry about whether I can be released from my jail, and I should be earnestly working towards this process. Now, once I am very clear in my direction, I have got no problems. Then I know what I'm doing. So everybody else, whenever I interact with others and everybody else, then that's okay, because then it somehow or other gets rubbed off, or I get inspired by other people who is also pursuing the same goal. And there are so many wonderful people as well, spiritual people who year in, year out do the same thing and then continue to, achieve the goal. So that kind of role models are plenty in this world. And such role models should be emulated and get inspiration from us. And so we move towards our own goal. For me, like stories like Shabari, for example, that lady who was in the jungles serving the master, and then master told her, I'm going further into the mountains. You stay here and look after the ashram. Sri Rama and the group will come. I don't know when he will come, but whenever he comes, serve him as well. So that young girl became a teenager, and then finally aged lady, and she was whole years will be pricking where even the slightest twig break in the forest, she will think that Sri Rama is coming. So that was why whole senses, everything was tuned to Sri Rama's arrival. And finally, when Sri Rama came, she was there serving him and his whole group, and finally was so happy that Sri Rama gave her the liberation. So wow, so many years to listen to that command of the master. Wow, that's amazing. The master said like that. So continue to dedicate, just single pointed concentration, dedication. Just do. Not great work, not big nation building work, but just that simple command for single pointed attention to that devoted action for so many years brought the liberation. See, brought the enlightenment. Wow, that's all I need. Therefore, I just need to make sure that I need to spiritually connect myself and just dedicate and give time, energy, effort, whatever happens, whatever people might say. Sometimes you will find that when you're doing something good, also people will criticize you. People will think wrongly about you. Despite all that, you still continue to do this work. Will you have the resistance to continue despite what people say? So all that will come as you continue in this journey. A lot of people, some of them may say good, so are you going to be influenced by all these things? So to continue doing that work just for the sake of that work and sake of that love, regardless of whether you're praise or blame or whatever it is, continue to focus. That kind of connectivity, dedication, perseverance, and concentrated work will finally bring some results towards your own state of liberation. If I attend to that, then I need not worry. The rest, that it will just make sure that others will also be influenced, others will also be motivated to do the same. So that's what I need not worry about the we. I just worry about whether I am doing it properly, and I try my level best to share what I can with all the rest, so that every one of us. So like that in life, look at all other people. Make sure you look at everybody else. There's so many beautiful people, inspiring. There are all these people in the organizations. You'll find everybody has got one or two fantastic quality. Pick it up, pick up. Like it's a rose garden. Pick that flower, pick that flower, pick that flower, and then emulate that example and be inspired by everybody's life. So that finally our job is to use this inspiration to transcend whatever limitations you have and reach the final goal. So, Sairam, dear brothers and sisters, thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you so much for inviting me for this virtual conference. I'm so happy to be here, and I thank all the leaders, Brother Krishnaya, Zone Coordinator, Central Coordinators, National Coordinator, NCPs, devotees. Really, I feel very blessed and honored to share some of these insights. Tomorrow, I think we'll be even having a more enlightening session with Sister Geetha Ram, wonderful speaker. So you all in this period where you also, our team, but the technical team has taken so much of pain and to make sure this experience become very rewarding for all of you. The main thing is, I just want to say is that every session, whatever said and done, just get back, read, put some points. There may be some things that has been said now. What are the points? The whole idea is, even if 1 hour talk, if that 1 second or 1 minute or some point that is being said, then use that points to ruminate over, think about it, and see how this can change our lives. Because the whole idea is, we need to change, we need to transform, and we need to deepen our meditation experience. We need to get connectivity far more. We need to have more peace, more happiness, and the feeling must become more and more authentic. Like I always say, that the Sai devotee is SAI, sincerity, authenticity, and integrity. These three things must become more and more prominent in our lives, and then we continue leading our lives, experiencing this bliss and happiness. So the bliss and happiness is finally what this ultimate reward is all about. I mean, ultimately, the rest of it is processes. So the end outcome is this. So we must make sure that we get to the end outcome and be experiencing peace and happiness, not just for ourselves, but for our members of our family. And more importantly, in this COVID period, every Sai devotee must be doubly enthusiastic and radiate that peace. Tell your friends, phone your friends, your relations. At least we are spreading our love to all these people who are around here, around your vicinity. Give that happiness and love to everybody, because everyone will be living in so much of fear. Maybe in your countries, maybe it's all well controlled, but here a little bit it's it's become so big. But anyway, we are supposed to spread this love and peace to everywhere and give everyone joy. So I thank you once again for this opportunity, and I sincerely hope and pray that with all our blessings, all Swami's grace and blessings, that the world will become rescued from this experience and use this moment to be connected deeply within us to achieve our end. Thank you so much, brothers and sisters, respected elders, beloved Swami. Thank you so much, Baba. Thank you, Sai Ram, Sai Ram, Sai Ram.